Fusion Mobile, quality e-learning experience on the go.
Now, the child is reluctant to go to school because he would rather bask in nature and enjoy playing on the trees, enjoying the beauty of summer. For the boy, nature is the only place where he can find emotional, physical, psychological fulfillment and happiness. Now, this is in contrast to going to school where one is confined by rules and regulations. Now, that was something that romantic poets were fighting against. Rules, regulations, laws. They actually preferred to celebrate nature. Now let us do a stanza by stanza analysis of this poem. But first, let us read a few lines. Stanza 1 says, I love to rise in a summer morn, when birds sing on every tree, the distant huntsman winds his horn, and the skylark sings with me. Oh, what sweet company. Now, this part expresses the joy of nature. Okay? Then, stanza 2 says, but to go to school in a summer month, oh, it drives all the joy away. Under a cruel eye outmost, the little children spend the day in sign and dismay. Now, we actually see the use of contrast in stanza 1 and stanza 2. Stanza 2 talks about the import of school and its regulations, the strict teachers that are supervising the children. The boy aspires to enjoy himself in his environment, but he is under the watch of cruel eye, who is likely to be their teacher. Who is likely to be his teacher, rather. Now, line 11 to 15. The third stanza of this poem shows his distress and weary as a result of his predicament. As he sits in his classroom, his mind is elsewhere. With the beautiful elements of summer, the boy does not derive any pleasure from the classroom setting. Rather, he would rather bask and enjoy nature. Line 16 to 20, the child compares himself to a caged bird. He feels that he is being imprisoned. From this imprisoned state, he is not happy because he is not able to express himself freely. Thus, the lamentation in stanza 4 is palpable. The poet realizes that there is no way he can operate optimally in the classroom's stifling, safe environment. In line 20 to 25, the boy is in search of a practical solution to this problem. It is apparent in his lamentation that he is of the view that if a promising child like him is removed from his source of happiness, he will not be able to flourish. You may not be able to get the best out of him. The lines in this stanza are unique because of the deliberate use of elements of nature to describe the poet's feelings and message. He says, oh father and mother, if buds and leaves and blossoms are blown away. In this line, the boy and others alike are the buds and tender plants. They will be destroyed if you cut them off from nature. In stanza, the last stanza, line 25 to 30, the poem continues and concludes the idea. It contains a lot of rhetorical questions. He is wondering, how shall the summer arise in joy? Or the summer fruits appear? How shall we gather what griefs destroy? The idea that the poet is conveying to his reader is that if childhood pleasures and joys are censored and truncated because of the imposition of regimented lifestyle, that is education. Adult life will be utterly dry and unproductive. Now, the poet is also making reference to, as he gets older, he is wondering that adult life may tend to be boring. He would rather want to remain a child. Now, the central idea or themes addressed in this poem. First and foremost, education acquired in a natural setting is more fulfilling than formal education in a classroom. The poet revolts against the limitations placed on him by education in the classroom. Now, romanticists support and approve the pursuit of wild aspirations and imagination. The spirit compels the poet to detest the processes involved in acquiring formal education. Family and social restraints deprive the poet the opportunity to play with the trees, the birds, the seeds, the flowers, and so on. Now, the second idea talks about the beauty of nature. The poet believes that he can lose the essence and exquisiteness of nature if he is deprived the opportunity. He sees himself as a caged bird, who has been dispossessed of its essence by societal norms. He is of the opinion that an affiliation or affinity with nature offers joy and happiness, while other alternatives such as going to school only offer a sighing dismay and ultimate boredom. Now, another thing that the poet looks at is the loss of the euphoria of childhood. The poetic voice begins with an account of the beautiful company he enjoys with elements of nature as a child. He is nostalgic. He narrates how the birds sing on every tree. However, he is not happy that he has lost contact with this, and so his access from nature is being cut off. The joy and freedom that comes with being able to interact freely with nature as a child is something that the poetic persona appreciates, which he regrets after he is being forced to school. Now, another important central idea we'll be looking at is the fact that children should be given the opportunity to chart their course. In this poem, William Blake pushes a major idea propounded by romantic poets to the forefront, that it is the importance of individual freedom, who should not be restricted by stifling rules and regulations. Blake was a self-educated man, and therefore he believed that good education can also be acquired outside the school environment. In fact, his own parents took the decision to educate him at home, and in his early years he was taught by his mother. Now, you must understand that the poets, their experience would most times influence the content of the poem. So you can see that this poem is an illustration of the poet's experience. Now we'll be looking at the poetic techniques or the poetic devices used in this poem. So the poet makes use of some poetic devices. The first we'll be looking at is the use of alliteration. For example, S alliterates in skylark and sings, school and summer. H alliterates in huntsman, hiss and horn. Now, we also see W and G alliterating in we and what, as well as gather and greet. Now, the poet makes use of apostrophe. You know, we said in our figures of speech class that apostrophe is making reference to something that is far away, that is abstract, as if it is here with you. Now, in line 21, the poet says, "Oh, father and mother, eat buds and nip." Now, the poet also makes use of dramatic monologue. The poem is an example of dramatic monologue, that is, a poem written in the form of a speech or statement made by an individual character. Within the context of the poem, that individual character is the schoolboy who outlines the reason he does not want to go to school. Now, he also makes use of the metaphor. Learning bower is a metaphor for the classroom. The bird is a metaphorical reference to the boy. Personification. We said personification is attributing something human to an inanimate object. In the use of personification here, a bird is given the human attribute of singing. When birds sing on every tree, and the skylark sings with me, the skylarks are also singing. Another example of personification is seen under the cruel eye of one. The eye is given the human attribute of being cruel. Rhetorical question. Now, there are different rhetorical questions that are bound in this poem. For example, how can a bird that is born for joy sit in a cage and sing? How can a child, when fears annoy, be forgetful in his youthful spring? Now, there's a question here that says, attempt exposition on the poem, The Schoolboy. Examine The Schoolboy as a romantic poem. And note that these questions will be displayed or popped up on your screen to determine how much you have learned in this class. Thank you.